Good morning to all. This is Dr. B. Murugubalavan from Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, working as Associate Professor cum Medical Officer. Now I am going to present you with tissues, human tissues. So this will enlighten you on what are the various type of tissues present in our body. Then again, it will be you will be knowing the various functions of various tissues. So coming to tissues, you know that cells and different type of cells having similar functions and structures are called as tissues. So tissues are something group of cells which has similar structure and function. So those structures and those cells are called as tissues. So they are majorly classified into epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue, and connective tissue. Okay. So coming to the next one, we are just going to deal with epithelial tissue now. So epithelial tissue consists of cells with which covers the body of the skull. There is skin, which lie hollow organs and tubes and cavities. Example, blood vessels. Epithelial tissue are held together by a homogeneous substance called as basal membrane. Epithelial tissue is of two types mainly: simple epithelium and stratified epithelium. So simple epithelium is nothing but it is a single layered tissue. So if you have more number of tissue in a single layer, then that is called as epithelial, simple epithelium. If you have multiple layer, then that is called a stratified epithelium. This simple epithelium is again divided into squamous cell, cuboidal cell, columnar cell, ciliated cell, and glandular cell. And coming to simple epithelium, squamous cells are pavement epithelium. It is otherwise called as pavement epithelium. Now, it consists of flat cells arranged edge to edge as in mosaic. You would have seen mosaic tiles in your houses. Okay, so this simple epithelium actually presents like that. These cells form the alveoli of lung. They also form the lining of heart and blood vessels. Cuboidal epithelium. So you know that you have we will see it in cuboid, which is the three-dimensional view of a square. So this cells of such type, they are found in tubules of kidney. So columnar epithelium. So these are long and pillar-like structures. They are found in lung, digestive structures, and ducts of glands. Okay, so I just want to explain you with what is called images. Like these are the cells, and this is the nucleus. This is the basement. When this is the squamous cells, so it's like flat cells. So you have cuboid cells, which is like square-like things, and you have nucleus here, and this is columnar epithelium where it presents itself like this. So when this is continuing, then we'll go call it as squamous epithelium, or stratified epithelium, simple epithelium, and stratified epithelial tissue. Simple epithelium, the ciliated epithelium. Here, the cuboid cells and columnar cells contains hair-like structures called as cilia, present in the free borders. They are found in the lining of air passages and uterine tubes. In the air passages, the constant movement of ciliation prevents dust entering the lung. So uh, you would have experienced sneezing, which is that whenever your root of your nose have higher concentration of dust, then your lung goes for deep inspiration, then suddenly it explodes out and it pushes this unnecessary dust particles out. That is sneezing. That is a physiological process. It's a normal process, but when it does when many times, then that becomes abnormal thing. Coming to glandular epithelium, these are cylindrical and columnar cells present in the secretory cells like salivary glands. These glands are of two types, unicellular and multicellular. The multicellular glands are again classified as endocrine glands, which contains ducts secreting hormones, exocrine glands, which do not contain a duct secreting hormones. Okay, you know that endocrine gland example is some thyroid hormone, and then pituitary we have growth hormone, and in and many other hormones in pituitary, and in adrenal gland you have adrenaline, and, and there's various type of endocrine glands. So actually what they do is they secrete the hormones into directly into the blood. So these hormones enter into the blood and go to their target tissues, and they give their response. Okay, this is endocrine glands. Exocrine glands, which do not contain the duct secrete enzymes. Exocrine glands, example, salivary glands. Actually, what they do, they secrete enzymes. They secrete enzymes, and what they do is they secrete the enzyme at a particular gland, and they just pour that into a what is called duct, yeah, tube thing. So it just go to the place where it is being utilized. For example, to the intestinal GIT. So where it helps us it helps in digestion. Okay. So that is about exocrine gland. Then stratified epithelium, it consists of several layers of cells. This forms the epidermal cells of skin and lines of mouth, pharynx, esophagus, depending upon the type of cell present. Stratified epithelium is further classified into stratified squamous epithelium, stratified cuboidal epithelium, stratified columnar epithelium. The outer layers of cell near the surface comprise the horny layer of skin. These cells are flat and they are like scales. They become dry and hard, and they develop a protein called as keratin. And if keratin is present, that is called as keratinized stratified epithelium. And the epithelium does not have keratin, it is called as non-keratinized stratified epithelium. So coming to the function of epithelial tissues, this tissue which forms forms a covering of the body skin, lining and activities in many protective injuries to the underlying tissues. They are the main defense mechanism. They helps to prevent major injury to the cells that are just present just beneath that. It prevents loss of fluid from tissues. Again, it helps to prevent the loss of fluid. When even if the temperature is very high, it does not leave the water to just go out of the body. So that is one of the very important function of this epithelial tissue. The tissue also does not function as the function of excretion, glandular secretion and absorption. So this also helps in various process of excretion in kidneys, skin, and as well as glandular secretion, like in what is it called, endocrine glands, and also in intestine where it helps in absorption. Functions of epithelial tissue: it gives it production, absorption, filtration, and secretion. So coming to the next part, there is muscular tissue. Muscular tissue is a tissue which has power of contraction. It is having a special function of contraction. Contraction, the muscle produce movement. Movement, muscles contains bundles of muscle fibers. There are three type of muscles, namely skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles. And skeletal muscles are always called as striated or voluntary muscles, and smooth muscle is otherwise called as unstriated or involuntary muscles, and cardiac muscle. So these are pictures of cardiac muscle and skeletal muscle and smooth muscle. So you can just see this cardiac muscle where it is being branched, and you have multinucleated cells in this cardiac muscles. In this also have cardiac muscles, but it is single muscles, and this is a smooth muscle where you have spindle-shaped structures of cells. Stiff striated muscles are voluntary muscles, are transversely striated by alternative light and dark markings. Each fiber is made up of number of myofibers and covered by thin membrane called sarcolemma. And this helps in control of it is under control of will and contracts only when stimulated by the nervous system. This forms the flush of limbs and trunk. Unstripped or unstraightened or smooth muscles, they are spindle-shaped structures where they have nucleus in the center. These fibers are not striated and are not covered by any membrane. Functions, they are present in internal organs like stomach, intestine, uterus, and in blood vessels. They are not controlled by will. They are controlled by autonomous nervous system. Coming to cardiac muscle, this is a cardiac muscle which is present in the heart, and they are just branched. So whenever this muscle contracts, it makes all this group of muscles to contract. So it's like wave-like pattern. Contraction occurs like wave-like pattern. Okay. So coming to the cardiac muscle, it is present in the heart, but it is not. It is striated like voluntary muscles, but its fibers are branched, and these striations are vague. Cardiac muscles is not controlled by the will. It is a property of autonomic rhythmic contraction. Coming to the next tissue is nervous tissue. It is composed of three kinds of matter: gray matter, white matter, and neuroglia. Gray matter, which forms the nerve cell; white matter, which forms the nerve fibers; and neuroglia, which is the supporting tissue, which holds together the supports on nerve cells and fibers. So nervous tissue. So the basic structure and function of nerve tissue is called as neuron. Neuron is the unit which the nervous system is composed of. It consists of nerve cell body, axons, and dendrites. Each nerve cell body has nucleus, protoplasm. The body of nerve gives rise to nerve fibers. Axons arise from nerve cell. Impulses pass through these axons only in one direction. This is a clear picture of neuron. So this is called a cell body, and these are called as dendrites. Where I have things like that. There's a long dendrite that is called as axon. So you have myelin sheath, scans, a node of Randler and axon terminals here. So usually we receive the neurons receive the impulses through dendrites, and the impulses are again processed, and new impulses are produced, and it is being sent out through these axons. So dendrites, these are short fibers arising from the nerve cells. They conduct the impulse towards the cell body. Synapse is the junction between axons of one neuron and dendrites of another. Myelin sheath covers and protects the axons. Nodal Ranvier is interruption found in the myelin sheath at regular intervals. Coming to the connective tissues serve as a connect and bind together different organs or parts of the body of organs. It contains an intercellular substance called as matrix. This helps in binding the cells. Connective tissues are classified as areolar tissue, dense fibrous tissue, uh, elastic tissue, adipose tissue, cartilage tissue, and bone tissue. It is not bone tissue, it is a bone tissue. So areolar tissue, it's a loose, irregular connective tissue. It connects the skin to the structure underlying it. It is distributed throughout the body, and it is found between muscles, blood vessels, and nerves. So just beneath the skin, you have this areolar tissue. And this connective tissue, fibrous tissue, it has compactly arranged fibrous tissue with less space in them. The cells are less in numbers than areolar tissue. This found where resistance is requires tough and strong. It forms a ligament, dura mater, lining of skull, neural canal, periosteum, covering the bone, layering of pericardium, stereotic coat of eyes, and examples of fibrous tissue. These are some of the ligaments: MCL, anterior cruciate ligament, posterior cruciate ligament, and lateral cruciate ligament of knee joint. So it will be like that. This is the microscopic view of the tissue. So coming to the elastic tissue, they are yellow in color and contains more number of elastic fibers. It presents in tissue where strength and elasticity is required. It's found in walls of arteries and in tubes of respiratory system. So then coming to adipose tissue, it is made up of large round cells. Cytoplasm is loaded with fat. This yellow color thing is fat. So you can see the nucleus being pushed to one side. The fatty tissue is being in what parts of the body. It can helps in organs of the body to regain its position. The kidney, for example, is deeply embedded in fat tissue. Coming to cartilage, it is a tough and elastic matrix formed by chondrine. The cells are more or less round and light group of four embedded in matrix. Cartilage is of three types: hyaline cartilage, fibrocartilage, and elastic cartilage. This hyaline cartilage is present in bronchial tubes. Fibrocartilage is example is intervertebral disc of vertebral column, and elastic tissue is pinna of ear. So these are parts where you this is a pinna, and this is where you get this is elastic cartilage, and this are the cartilages, various places you find. Coming to the last thing is bone tissue. It is the hardest connective tissue and contains high concentration of calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. So it consists of periosteum, it is a membrane covering the fibrous tissue covering the surface of the cell. Compact bone, it is hard substance found below the periosteum. Cancellous or spongy bone, it is spongy porous, it forms an interior of the bone. Bone marrow or soft material, which consists of yellow bone marrow, which is fat tissue, red bone marrow from which the cells develop. This is a cross section of a bone where it can get various structures like periosteum, canale, osteon, aversion canal, osteon of compact bone, trabecula of spongy bones, etc. Okay, so thank you. I think hope you would have enjoyed this session. Thank you all.